Hey, gang. I must apologize right off the bat for the wait between episodes. It's been a whirlwind. It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years of trying to wrap up season 2. So I do apologize for keeping y'all hanging. I'm going to try my hardest season 3 to put out an episode maybe once every 2 weeks to hopefully help with those gaps. As you guys know, for me, scheduling is the biggest problem that I have. Prior to, I went out for surgery. I got my arms done 2 months ago. So I've had all the time in the world to get in here, but it's been holiday time. And, Mike was in the process of filming some movies and things like that. So it just, the office wasn't available. The studio wasn't available. Mike wasn't available. So it is what it is. And I was actually supposed to have 2 different interviews recorded today, but one of my guests unfortunately suffered a loss in their family. So we had to reschedule that. And that's pretty much what has been happening. I have friends that are going to be coming in here. They're going to be talking about addiction. They're going to be talking about incarceration. They're going to be talking about continued healthcare battles. 2 of my former guests on the pod, I'm not going to out them, but they're dealing with some cancer scares right now and treatment. So at some point they might want to come on and talk about that experience. But as of right now, obviously it's very overwhelming for them and their families. So they're doing what they need to do to get themselves to a good place, a healthy place, and, fight that hard fight. Heck, I've had a guest on the pod who has since been divorced since they were on. So a lot going on. And, rightfully so, it's hard to hash out even just an hour with little old me, because I have a schedule as well that I have to keep up. So it's been tough. I'm trying really, really hard to get a Savannah Banana on the show. If you know, you know. And we are going to have Mike back on the show eventually to talk about a couple of the films that he has worked tirelessly on. Again, we talked a little bit about Summer House, but now it's looking as though that's going to be released on a streaming service. So we want to have him back to talk about that. Jaimin Hensu was in a film called Monster that Mike worked on. They shot a scene here in town. I got to get a little behind the scenes look at that. Didn't get to see Jaimin, unfortunately. But Mike is definitely going to want to talk about that. They just released the trailer for that on socials. And also Lady America, the film that I did actually get to work on for a couple of days. I use the term work on very loosely. I sat around for a couple of hours and just, watched, saw how the sausage was made, so to speak. So we're definitely going to have him talk about all of those things and more. But, poor Mike, he's got kids as well. So as I said, it's holiday time. So he went from movies right into the holidays. And of course, now he's got a cold. So it is what it is, dude. But this is the situation. I also have somebody who, for lack of a better term, is an associate of Jeffrey Epstein, or former associate, I should say. And we're trying to get her on here. But as you can imagine, with the tone of this country in particular, with all of that stuff, she is concerned. She doesn't want to be subpoenaed. She is very fortunate that the government hasn't come knocking on her door yet to ask her what she knows. And she knows a whole lot. So we're trying to be smart about it. I'm certainly not trying to disrupt her life or my little ass podcast. It's certainly going to affect her business, which we don't want either. So we're trying to figure out the best way to go about this, because I think it is an interesting story. It's certainly a perspective we haven't heard as far as all of, what we do know about Epstein and the things that he was doing. So we're still working on that. We're still trying to figure out the logistics and do the best that we can to keep her safe and to keep people, folks off of her radar, because again, this tiny little podcast is not the reason that somebody should be bothered by the government if they so choose, not to be. So we'll see what happens there. So a lot coming up. But as I said, it's just been a matter of scheduling. That's been the hardest part. I am going to be going to France for a month in April. So you will be hearing back from my cousin Tommy, of course, and then hopefully his partner, Lara, partner in life and in business. So we'll see what happens with all of that. But again, I really just wanted to start off this episode by thanking you all for sticking with me. Those of you who have continued to listen. I know it's a pain in the ass when, we don't have a regular, consistent schedule. It's certainly not helping to keep this show in the forefront of your minds and something that you'd be interested in continuing to listen to. So those who are still listening to me, thank you so much. Thank you for your continued support. Again, if you guys want to come on the pod, if you've got a project or something you'd like to speak about, if you know somebody who has an interesting job or a project they're looking to promote, again, I've had authors on this show, certainly a ton of people that I know that work with non-profits and things of that nature. I'd love to speak to you about the various charities you support, things like that. So please reach out, let me know. You can always email me at trynottocurse@gmail.com. But again, if you are a friend of mine, just hit me up on socials. I'm happy to talk to any of you guys or again, any of your friends or family members that might have something they want to promote or just something interesting they want to get off their chest. I'm here for good conversation. So with that, again, I apologize it's taken 2 years to wrap up season 2, but this is the last episode. This is episode 50 of season 2. And there's going to be a longer break before the start of season 3. But again, within that time frame, I'm hoping that we'll get back to work. I can amass a couple of episodes for you and get some out with a little more of a consistent schedule. So again, thank you so much. And this is Try Not to Curse. Gang. Once again, here with my mother, Joanne. Hi, Mom.
Hello, Elizabeth.
I don't think you've been on season 2. So
I don't think so.
Well, hooray. Here we are.
Hooray.
My mom asked me, because we're in the middle of a snowstorm right now, and she said, is there a reason that we had to do it today? You rushed me to get here. I said, well, no, but this wrapping up season 2 has been like a freaking monkey on my back. I just can't, again, I can't get anybody in here, and I'm going back to work my full-time schedule next week. So I said, oh shit, it's now or never. Let's just get it done so I can recalibrate, take a break, get some more interviews, hopefully amass to begin season 3. I originally wanted Christine in here. We were going to talk about Taylor Swift, the phenomenon that is Taylor Swift.
Right.
Which would have been nice because I kind of started the season talking about Taylor.
Well, I can talk about Taylor
Yes,
Swift.
you can. I have forced you to watch the Eras documentary.
Yes.
Did we finish it?
I believe so.
Okay.
And I really was quite impressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, whether you like her or don't, you have to be impressed with her professionalism, with her organization, with the way she treats her people, the way she just has her finger on everything and knows what's going on.
Right.
And has input into everything.
Right.
I mean, she's certainly not being run by anybody. She's doing her thing.
Yeah.
And still seems to be a nice person. So
well, and that's just it. And that's what drives me wild when so many people talk shit like, okay, sure, you don't have to like her music.
Right.
But she as an individual is not a piece of shit.
Right.
And she's not making life worse for anyone, certainly.
Right.
So it's wild to me how visceral the reactions can be from certain people about her.
Well,
but
yeah,
all the Chads, Brads, and Dads.
Do you know how to spell misogyny?
If not, Taylor could teach you. I'm sure she's put that word in one of her songs at least.
Yeah.
Fun fact, you guys, I just saw this on the TikToks. We're not going to talk about Taylor Swift the entire episode, but if you give a flying fuck, there are 12 songs on Life of a Showgirl, and of the 2 discs of the Tortured Poets Department, there are 31 songs. So go through Life of a Showgirl, match up a song with your birth month, go through the Tortured Poets Department, match up the titles with your birthday. And my Taylor Swift song combo of the 2 albums is Eldest Daughter and, oh shit, you know what? Now I'm drawing a blank on it. What is it? You should be, hold on. Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? That's what it is. Let me just confirm here before I really talk out of turn. Just, talk amongst yourselves, you guys. I just saw it and I was like, oh, that's so fun. But yes, I believe it is Eldest Daughter. I wrote it down. Didn't I write it down? I did write it. Okay. Anyway, yes, it's Eldest Daughter. And Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? Well, you should be, gang. If anyone knows, you know. Anyway, that's in the song. But yeah, it's just a fun little, she just gives us fun shit to do.
Yes.
And we need that right now.
She brings so much joy. I mean,
you don't understand the hysteria.
Well, no, it's not that. I have a problem with the cost. I understand that her operation is expensive.
Yes.
I mean, her sets and the traveling
ticket, and also ticket prices are not 100% under her control, unfortunately.
Yes, I understand that. And
which I think is also going to change.
Right. And I will say this again because I never miss an opportunity to say I am old enough to remember when Joan Baez made it a rule that her tickets could not be more than $2.
Yeah.
$2.
But here's the problem.
When I hear a ticket is like $700,
yeah.
I understand that you're getting a really good show.
That was the average price of a Taylor ticket.
But on the other hand, I'm not sure that 700 times 60,000 people. I think that more than covers. What you're doing.
Well, and again, we don't know
I understand that it doesn't all go into her pocket.
Well, and that's just it. We don't know what her takeaway. I mean, even people talk about that at Comic-Con because there are some people you can get their autograph for $40.
Yeah.
There are other people that their autograph is $350.
Right. Well, because they will get people to pay that for them.
And
whose fault is it, really?
It's mine. Y'all don't
say no.
Y'all don't need to know my business, but no, but it's true. And so people will say that, well, they, you don't know what they get, whatever, but regardless.
Yeah.
And also the problem is with the big ticket people in particular. So again, I think I talked about this, not on here, but I talked about it on the YouTube show, Charlie Cox, who is Daredevil, right now on, now Disney Plus. He was on Netflix originally. He's got lines out the door. And he's rather expensive. I don't think he was in the hundreds, but he was up there.
Yeah.
If he was $40, fucking forget about it. They'd have to shut the place down because it would be pandemonium. So that's also part of it.
Right, yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg famously talked about when she had first started going to cons, I think she was charging like $20, like she didn't want to charge anything, but I think she was charging $20 and the promoters came to her and said, you can't do that because you're fucking over the other people who are here and who actually kind of make a living off going to cons now.
Yeah, plus the fact that everybody would be going to her.
Well, and that's what it was too. So they said you're kind of taking business away from the other people who need to be here.
Yeah.
And B, you're kind of, it's like when you talk about property values, it's the same thing.
Right.
They're like, that's great that you can do $20 and you spend the day here. We really appreciate it. The fans love it, sure. But this guy who's charging $60, fans look at him and go, oh, well, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
So it is, I do get it to that in that degree. Yeah. So then Whoopi, I think the only times I've ever seen her come around was when I went to Wizard World. It was my first con, and now it's called Dragon Con. But I think she was charging $88 then for her autograph, but all of hers goes to her charity now. Right. That's how she justified it.
Okay.
So she said, okay, if I have to up my price, I will. Right. However, this is what I'm going to do.
Right. Well, it's very interesting because this has been on my mind a lot lately, and actually, because again, I'm old, so I remember when you could buy a Volkswagen for $19.99.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the cheapest decent new car is $30,000.
Yeah.
And you think about, okay, is that car 15 times better than the $2,000 car?
Certainly not.
So, and so, but everything has gotten that way.
Yes.
Everything is completely out of control.
Yes.
And gee, look at what else they talk about, how wealth has migrated to the top and how a handful of people control more wealth than pretty much the whole rest of the world.
Yeah.
So coincidence? I think not.
Yeah.
But the question is, what do we do about it? Because people are
we still need and want things.
Well, that's exactly right. And people, and I'm always astonished. I mean, I worked in the grocery store for 20 years and I would see people, spending hundreds of dollars, and a lot of the stuff that they bought was absolute crap.
Yeah.
I mean, 12 packs of soda and bags of chips and, all kind of processed, mac and cheese and, all kinds of stuff. Cereal, big, the big boxes of sugar cereal. And I'm thinking, Really? I
Yeah.
mean, it's crazy. But the other question is, how are they doing that?
Right.
How are they affording to do that?
Right.
I don't know if I raised 2 children and it was a struggle the whole time.
Yeah.
But now.
And under a 2-income household as well.
Yes. But I don't know how I would do it now. It's ridiculous.
Well,
I mean, just
yeah.
for myself,
Yeah.
I spend almost as much as I did for the whole family,
Right.
30 years ago.
No, certainly.
So it's like, what the heck?
No, I went to Target. I was actually just telling Tammy this. I went to Target the other day. I went in there specifically looking for 2 things. Completely forgot to get one of those 2 things.
Of course.
But I spent $200 when I walked out. And I'm sitting in my car doing the math because I said, oh, that still seems relatively high for me. Normally I spend if I'm there, because I get a lot. I don't just get food. I get clothing and I get, beauty products and skincare products and hair care products and all that other kind of shit. And I got some stuff for my upcoming trip to France. I'm in the car and I go, okay, yeah. So it was $15 a piece, and I got 3 of those, and literally 8 items that I got was $100 alone.
Right.
Just 8 items.
Sure.
It's unbelievable. It's really, and again, Jerry Seinfeld famously says every single materialistic and, well, quite frankly, everything on this planet is nothing but trash. So you buy trash to fill your house with trash to then die and leave your loved ones your trash. And really, in the grand scheme,
Right.
and we've talked about it, and I said it on the last episode when speaking to our archaeologist friend, you have famously always said, when they dig up stuff from the dirt.
Right. It's other people's garbage.
Yeah.
There's
this broken pot. Well, they didn't bury it there for safekeeping.
They threw it away.
Yeah.
And now you're prizing it like it's, like it's some treasure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just other people's Tupperware that they threw away.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't find the lid to fit it.
Right.
Or the left sock,
So listen, gang, I'm the biggest materialistic bitch you'll ever meet in your life. I love,
Amen.
I thought about it the other day and I said, you know what? Maybe somewhere down the line, or maybe I'm reincarnated. Maybe I'm an Egyptian, because they like to be surrounded by their shit.
Yeah.
And I said, that's what this is. This isn't a home. This is a tomb. I said, that's what I'm walking through. I'm looking at all of my shiny things and things that make me happy and that I feel like I earned and I deserve that. And I said, maybe I'm a...
Well, I accumulate things too, but what I accumulate mostly is words and music.
Yeah.
I have, everyone
has their thing they like.
I've stopped buying actual books because I don't have the space to store them.
Yeah.
And I will buy an actual CD every once in a while, but most of the time now I'm buying streaming.
Yeah.
Just because and it's all on my phone.
Yeah.
So, very compact.
Yeah. I do try really hard to declutter when I can. I don't have a problem paying for something, it's serving its purpose, and then letting it go. So I'll either donate it or, I'll get it on a tag sale with friends or something. But like books, once I read a book, I try to, contribute it to a little library that's somewhere or whatever, pass it on to somebody else. That to me just, okay, I got the story, I got the value out of it. And, I don't, so that's how I keep my bookshelf relatively the same size all the time. But,
here's a
that's
plug
tricky too.
For my In-Death series.
Oh, there you go.
I've read, I've read most of them at least 3 times. And I'm working through them again because I just enjoy them so much.
Well, and you read Harry Potter how many times?
I read Harry Potter, the whole series, about, I think, 3 times.
Yeah.
But I read Fellowship of Lord of the Rings trilogy 6 times.
Yeah.
And you do get something more out of it every time.
Sure.
You read it because obviously
different perspectives.
Different and different coming from a different place in your own life.
Oh, 100%.
So you do get more out of it. Plus, again, especially in the In-Death series, I laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Quite often when I'm reading those, and I'll read certain passages to Bill because just the interaction of the characters is just so entertaining.
Yeah.
And he finds them entertaining as well, which, you might be surprised to hear, but he really does.
And that series, it's written by J.D. Robb. And what did she write originally?
No, it's a pseudonym for Nora Roberts.
Okay.
And Nora Roberts, again, is a wonderful writer. They're romance novels, but they're not. Okay, I have categories.
Not mystery, but they're like crime.
Most of them have a crime involved, murder, whatever. And her people are all exquisitely handsome and fabulously wealthy and very successful and very, capable. And there's always some kind of a couple that, a lot of times hate each other on first sight,
right.
But then, figure it out and have amazing sex somewhere along the line. Very entertaining on many, many levels.
Yeah.
But the getting into the J.D. Robb series was weird. I mean, it wasn't intentional. When I was working at a Chevy dealership, one of our representatives from GM dropped off a box of books, as you would appreciate. She had read them all, and so she wanted to pass them along. And so among those books in that box that she left were the first few of the In Death series. And I looked at them, and I saw, I think I had already read some Nora Roberts by then. So I saw that it was the same author, and I thought, well, let me try it. I'm not really into futurist. They're futuristic. They're set.
Oh, okay.
They're set in the 2050s. They start in 2058.
Yeah.
And now I'm up to 2060, I think, or 20, and it's 23 books in.
Yeah.
And I'm at 2060.
Yeah.
So I'm not a science fiction. I don't read science fiction much. So I wasn't, I was like, let me, whatever, but I'll try it. And I was hooked from the first book.
Yeah.
And it cost me money because now I have to buy all the ones that I'm missing, you know? So, and she's got, I think she's got,
holy shit, I can't believe my phone was on. Sorry.
I think she's got almost 60 now.
Yeah.
And it's Eve Dallas and her fabulously wealthy, exquisitely handsome Irish husband, Rourke.
Well, they have to be wealthy, or what's the point?
Half the known universe. And it's very interesting because there's a podcast that you can listen to where they kind of dissect the stories. And there are going to be some inconsistencies.
Yeah.
And some, things that would never happen. But it all goes to the enjoyment of the story. Yeah. They're just very, very entertaining.
Yeah, no,
stories.
I was never a huge reader. And then in, I want to say 5th grade, we are a bunch of whores. Rachel, my friend Rachel, got me into Julie Garwood, started me with, I think it was The Bride. And then I read like her 10 books prior to that. And then ever since, I've read every single thing she's ever written. She started off, it was kind of like in the Baroque period. Then she got into like Westerns, and now it's a little more modern. I don't really care for modern stuff. I like to be completely removed from reality. Plus, I really don't believe that any of the schmoes in this town would ever fucking like go to war for me or some shit. Like, it's really hard for me to believe. But so I like to be completely removed and put in a different time frame. So stuff like that. So now everybody talks about the romantasy novels, they call them. And now there's a whole level of, there's like a spicy meter, like how spicy are they? And some of them are pretty fucked up, though, to be perfectly fair. So it's really hard for me to find a series that has all of the elements I'm looking for. I read Twilight, as you know. I read all of the 50 Shades books. It's just, a lot of them always start off the same, where the girl is freshly out of high school or freshly out of college, and come to find out they're this beacon for this werewolf society or this vampire society, but she's always hooking up with guys that are 160 years old, and it's just even 50 Shades was very similar. She had just gotten out of college, and so it's for like, now that I'm 41, I'm like, I can't read about another 22-year-old that stumbles over a billionaire that also happens to be trained in warfare and whatever the fuck else, you know. So it's tricky. But then the problem is when you get into the adult stuff, they then have more adult subject matter. So I also don't want to read about people that were abused as children or escaped an abused relationship, and or there's a lot of the titles that I keep seeing coming up on TikTok in particular, on Book Talk, are like, oh, he's about being obsessed. So one title, somebody online was talking about, oh, so she's a detective that comes to talk to a serial killer, and he finds out she was sexually assaulted by one of her partners. So he kills that guy. And then they fall in love or something. And I'm like, that's not appealing to me. So it's really, really, it's a struggle for me to find stuff that's the right balance of, yes, a little kind of thrill. Let's have the werewolves battle each other, but I don't want her to have to suffer in order to then find her knight in shining armor or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like Sleeping Beauty's enough. She's just unconscious for a couple of years. That's fine. Let him fight the dragon. That's fine,
Well, yeah,
so
it's
tricky.
Very interesting the point that you made where you want to be taken away, because actually that's true for me as well.
Yeah.
And now that I'm thinking about it, because there are people, my peers, women from church, who recommend certain authors and whatever, and I have never really checked them out because I know what I like to read.
Well,
and I don't really want to. You're right. I don't really want to read about real life.
Yeah. Well, because again,
we have enough of that. I don't.
I look at my exes. I look at people that I might be interested in today, and then I try to put them in the context of these books. I'm like, no, they wouldn't do that. Yeah. They don't care enough. They don't have their life together. Well, and again, I mean, yeah, it helps that all of them happen to, for whatever reason, be millionaires in all of these stories. So again, when people get mad because they see Bill Belichick dating somebody that's 26 years old, well, hey, he's a millionaire. So there's a reason, and clearly that's what we're looking for in these books.
Really nice guy.
I would be the nicest person on the face of the planet if I had millions of dollars. Are you kidding me?
As I have said many times, the fact that he is a millionaire would not be a deal breaker for me.
It wouldn't be for anybody. For no one is it a deal breaker. Clearly.
I mean, that may not be what I would be going for.
But that's just it. Yeah.
That wouldn't stand in the way.
But again, that's why I read these, because so much of it is just not my reality, not my purview. Again, even if it is based, in today, in modern, it's like, yeah. But but that's why I like all my shows. Like I like Supernatural because they're fighting demons, and I like all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, because Eve Dallas, who is a New York City detective, it's now it's in the future. It's called the New York City Security. I think. What is it? What is it called now? It's the NYPD. In the future, it's NYSPD. So there's security mixed in there somewhere. So in any case, so she, makes a detective salary. She has a tiny little office with an old beat up desk they always mention that the visitor's chair is very uncomfortable. And she has this one stingy window where she can stand and look out over the city. And she doesn't want an upgrade because she's on the job. And this is, it's not about,
She's analog, damn it.
Yes, exactly. And the thing of it is that her husband is a multi-billionaire, owns this enormous, gorgeous mansion in the heart of the city with grounds and everything. I mean, I wonder how that even works.
So she's a trad wife. She wants to be a trad wife.
No, she does not want to be a trad wife. She gets mad when he tries to give her money. She doesn't want his...
See, again, that's not realistic either. Bullshit, lady. No, I'd rather have my shitty coffee from the diner downstairs.
No. That is how he won her, was with his real coffee.
Okay.
Because in the future, nobody can afford, or most people cannot afford real coffee.
See, it's getting closer to reality now is the problem.
So the coffee that he has is the real deal. Yeah. And when she first tastes it, she is like, all right, this is the guy for me. It's mainly
fellas,
it's mainly about the coffee.
Men, you don't understand. It really does not take much. And the fact that you can't even meet us at the bare minimum, that's why we reach for these books and not you. Okay? This is what I'm saying. I am single and I'm perfectly content because y'all ain't got fuck all for me. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, but she does make the point that before she met him, she was the job. That was it. That's all she had was the job. And she again, if you want to go into the whole long backstory, she was abused as a child, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So in any case, her calling, her mission in life is to uphold the law and to hold bad guys accountable for what they do. And so, but that was all she had. She would go home alone and, be in her apartment, whatever. And the only thing she really cared about or concerned herself with was the job.
Yeah.
Now, once she hooked up with Rourke, now she has at least one other person that's as important, if not more than, well, no, he's never more important than the job. The job is still the job.
Because he just brings the coffee. He's still not helping her save lives over here.
He does more than bring the coffee.
Well, right.
We don't want to go there.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
Not with my mother, I don't. Absolutely not.
So in any case, but again, it opens up a whole world for her of relationships that she never had before.
Yeah.
And what's so funny is that she's very reluctant about forming attachments to people.
Yeah.
Because she's like, what a pain in the ass. Now I have to care about these people.
Yeah.
Now when their birthday comes, what I have to buy a gift now?
Yeah.
And her friend gets married. They have a bridal shower. And then she's like, what? And now I have to buy a wedding gift too?
Yeah.
It's like we gave her the shower. We had it at our enormous mansion with all the, because Rourke, of course, has it catered and it's absolutely fabulous and so on and so forth. She says, now and then Christmas comes. It's like, oh my God, now I have to buy Christmas gifts for everybody.
You're describing yourself right now.
She's like,
what do you mean?
Like, what a pain in the ass.
Another birthday? Fuck you. That's my mom.
This whole friendship thing. What a pain in the ass this is. And I have to care about if they're upset. Now I have to, her partner Peabody.
No, she sounds like a barrel of laughs.
Is in a relationship, and of course he can be an asshole. So she's like all upset one time, and Eve is like, "Oh my God, now what? I have to listen to her bitch about how do I handle this?" And she's, but it's hilarious the way it's written.
Yeah,
that she's complaining that now she has these relationships. She has to be normal. Now she has to now she has to concern herself with other people.
I mean, it's hard. It's a big waste of energy.
It's hilarious, though.
But yeah. Okay. Well, very good.
But she does it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And she may bitch about it the whole time, but she does it.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. And how many books are in the series?
60 something. Well, maybe not quite 60. I know there was 50 and now it's beyond 50. So I'm not sure if it may be 60.
Cool.
I could look it up, but I'm not going to do that. Anyway,
gang, you got a couple of recommendations there. Very nice.
Yes. Oh, they're wonderful. I mean, I've heard people complain about the fact that they keep bringing up her childhood throughout, pretty much in
but they do that in everything, though. All those books, they do that because that's, it's, I'm sorry. She's not allowed to be traumatized.
Right. Well, I mean,
that's just it. Brutal. Could you stop bringing up your trauma? Like, sorry, like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So that's,
Actually, I only heard one person say that, but that's not like I talked to that many people about it, so I don't know.
Or at all, in general.
At all, in general.
Because you also
except for
don't
my daughter who says, gives me a gift card and says, not for anything in death.
But can you use it? I was going to say, the question is, could you locate that gift card now, though?
Well, I used it.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes, of course.
How long ago was that? I don't even remember that.
It's been years ago. Yeah.
Well, because I know for a fact you've got a gift card for the bookstore next door that you don't seem to know where that's at right now for Honeybee. That QR code gift card that I gave you last year.
Oh, okay.
Or the year before at this point, yeah.
Really? I'll have to look at
that.
No, I don't think I ever did go in there. So apparently not.
Oh, well. Okay. What are you going to do?
Which is too bad because I like to support local bookstores.
Yeah.
I used to go to Bailiwicks all the time.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, you got one. Very nice.
Anyway.
Well, what else is going on? Anything exciting?
Oh, nothing.
Good.
It's very calm, very quiet. Nothing going on.
Yeah. Well,
we're about to blow up NATO. But
we're trying really hard not to talk about politics, but that's kind of it's impossible. It's impossible in America anyway.
I read a very interesting post by Billy Bragg. Any old hippies out there know who Billy Bragg is. But anyway, he's been an activist his entire career since the 60s, and he wrote a piece that what I glean from it is that his position is that this particular administration is not, I think you would say, organized enough
at all
to be actually fascist.
That's fair.
He's trying to say that fascism is an actual ideology,
right?
Where this administration, it's at least Trump himself, doesn't have really any ideology except what is good for me.
Is there,
what will put money in my pocket, and that's pretty much his outlook. But
I mean, they're almost anarchists, really. But they're
anarchists for themselves.
They're fascist anarchists,
but not for anybody else.
How do we like? If chaos were a movement,
yes,
I guess the word is supposed to be
Trump
anarchist.
Thrives on chaos, and he always has.
Yeah.
And I'd love to talk to those people that were saying all along, oh, we need to run the country like a business. Okay.
Yeah.
Except that the country is not a business.
No.
It's not supposed to be.
But also, if you're running your business like this, honey, you ain't doing so hot.
But this is the way he's always run his business. He has his people at each other's throats constantly.
Yeah.
Because he knows that puts him at the center of everybody's attention.
Well, because he just wants his ass kissed. That's what it is.
Yes,
so if I pit people against one another, they're all gonna vie for my attention.
What I've had in my head for the last couple of weeks is I heard a cabinet meeting where Ice Barbie, Kristi Noem, said to him that the strikes on the boats coming out of Venezuela have saved hundreds of millions of lives.
Millions, okay.
Hundreds of millions of lives. And I don't understand why anytime she's in front of the press, somebody doesn't say to her, Secretary Noem, do you realize that there are 350 million people in America entirely?
Yeah, right.
That is our entire population.
Yeah.
So how on earth could hundreds of millions of lives be saved? Are you saying that every single person in the United States of America is a drug addict,
right?
Or would be a drug addict if they could only get their hands on drugs from Venezuela?
That's exactly what they're saying.
Is that what you're saying?
That they're forcing the needles in our arms and they're going to force the coke up our noses. Yes, that's exactly what they're saying. Well, and not to lighten what you're saying, but it cracks me up actually just thinking, because I literally had this conversation yesterday. There's a commercial going right now. I don't know for what product. It may very well be pharmaceutical. It may just be some type of lifestyle, some app or something, but they say you can go, they do say that you can go hundreds of miles further than you've ever gone. And I'm sitting there with Tammy, and her husband looks at me and he goes, what's the circumference of the world? And I said, well, I know from here, the East Coast to California, it's 3,000 miles, right? We know this is known. So he said, so they're saying I could go to Mars is what, so then now of course we're Googling and we're doing all the distances. How far away is Mars? Well, no, Mars is hundreds of millions of miles. So no, but okay. So then the moon, can we go to the moon? Okay. Yes, we can get to the, it's just, I mean, it's just these outrageous, things that people say. But unfortunately it's the people who should be the most educated that are saying it, but I had this conversation with Tammy as well, because, again, not that we're not going to get deep into politics. However, it has always been a shock to me, because, Tammy is a teacher. She's been a teacher of 30 years now. She's very well educated herself. She's actually now talking about going in and getting her second master's in her 60s, which is bananagrams to me.
No, she could be in her 60s with a second master's or without one.
Well, absolutely. So, just the extra work. I mean, like, why are you doing that to yourself? But
because it's fun.
Sure. For whom?
For her, apparently.
No. She would never say that.
No.
But again, because she said, I really don't understand because we've all been taught this. I said, but we haven't all been taught this.
Yeah.
I said, you and I have been taught this because we grew up in Connecticut, but people in Ohio and people in Nebraska and people in Alabama and people in Oregon and certainly fucking Idaho. First of all, why are we sleeping on Idaho, you guys? Idaho's fucking weird. But none of us have had the same education.
Yeah.
And that always really, even, meeting friends from other towns, even knowing that Danbury's curriculum is so different from Newtown's, from Southbury's, from Brookfield's, from Bethel's, from Washington. It's never made sense to me. And I'm like, okay, so if the government is responsible for our education, why isn't it the same curriculum across the board?
Because of states' rights.
But so again, we can go every which way with that conversation. But all I ask is that you folks go out and fucking vote, please. And I say this regularly because you look at these people that are causing the most chaos. You look at these people that say the wildest shit, even the stupid stuff that makes you laugh. When women talk about how dumb their boyfriends are or whatever. I mean, fuck, we had one of our own family members, unfortunately had ovarian cancer. They found it when she was very young. And her father looked at the doctor and said, well, she hasn't even had her period yet. What do you mean how can she have her ovaries? So this is a grown man with 4 children of his own that did not realize that ovaries are something that every woman is born with. Because, but also it's one of those, people have that mentality too. Well, I'm not a female, so why should I give a shit about female anatomy? Why do I need to learn about female anatomy?
I don't have children, so why should I pay tax for schools?
Yes, for education. Yeah. Right. There's a lot of people out there with that mentality and they vote.
Yes, they do.
And they have opinions about the world based on the way they've grown up seeing it.
Yeah.
So, it's gang, it's wild. I was very, very fortunate. So as we've talked a little bit before on this show, I was raised Unitarian Universalist. My Sunday school curriculum was broad and vast. We had one whole, year where we learned about other religions. We went on trips to different churches. We've sat in Jehovah's Witness churches. We've been to Quakers. We've, observed Jewish holidays. But we also had a curriculum that was called AYS, which was your whole
it was called about your sexuality at that time, and then it got changed to your whole lives.
Yes, and then OWL or something like that. It was our whole lives.
Our
Owls,
whole lives.
yeah.
Yes, our whole lives.
But they taught us sex education, and it was at a time because they realized that conversation was becoming a hot topic in schools. A lot of schools had turned around and said, no, it's no business of the schools to teach my child, who, by the way, at that point was probably 15 or 16, where babies come from. Those were some people in let's say the Midwest, for example, had that feeling that, no, my child doesn't need to know, but yet are shocked when that same child comes home and is pregnant at 15 or 16, because those aren't our values. Those aren't, well, babe, you have to give me some, the more educated you are, the smarter you will become about your life choices, and the more equipped you will be to make the right ones. But unfortunately, ignorance wins out almost every time. So, for me, I've always known about that stuff. It's always been in the forefront, how important, STDs, and you can get this and you can get that. Now, same thing, even with the drug, as we said, the DARE program, I'm the only person on the face of the planet that program
it actually
took effect on. Again, I vividly, and I don't know if I mentioned this on the show, but I'm 12 years old in 5th grade, and I vividly recall our office, I think it was Officer Woods at the time, shout out, he came in with a framed box of drugs, all labeled. Here's this pill, this leaf, that powder, and it all labeled what they all were. And he said, this does this to you, and this does that to you, and you hallucinate, and da-da-da. And I'm looking at him, and all I can think is, why are you giving these people ideas? don't tell us what it does, because I guarantee you 50% of the people in this room are going,
"Ooh, well, I'm gonna try that.
That doesn't sound so bad."
Yeah.
Well, why not? What do you mean I can't? That mushroom, I like mushrooms. Put it on my pizza.
Right.
Go on a trip. So at 12 years old, I'm like aghast. Like, oh my God. But again, it's now. So now they don't want you to know about that stuff. So people are snorting cocaine that, oh, fuck, it's laced with fentanyl, dead as a doornail.
Yeah.
So this is, for me, I've always had an arm's length with that stuff, stayed away from it forever, but also very fortunate, fortunate or not, alcoholism runs in our family. I've always been very conscious of that. I didn't have my first alcoholic beverage until the summer of my 20th year, right before I turned 21. Always fucking straight and narrow, you guys. But those are...
Well, that's true. I never did worry about you.
No, but if you're educated...
Yeah.
If you're if people treat it in reality.
But even if you are educated.
Yeah.
It's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
I mean, I was educated. I smoked dope like it was my job.
Yeah.
I did that all through college, and it was fine. I didn't do it, to go to class.
Yeah.
I did it after my work was done or on the weekends or whatever. And now I don't, only because the shit is so strong nowadays. I'm afraid.
Well, so
it's not even that I'm afraid. It's that it's wasted on me. It's like I'm just going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So why
that's
bother?
how I feel too. That's why I don't either. I only take it for sleep.
Yeah.
But they're saying that's the big problem.
I'll have a shot and a beer, and I like that.
Yeah.
And that feels real good.
But also you can stop yourself.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the problem too.
Thing. Yes.
But no, now they're saying the big problem with that, and anybody with kids, it's really important that you kind of keep relaying this message and drive that home, is that because it's so strong now, because there still isn't complete regulation of that. Now kids are building up a tolerance a lot quicker, and they aren't, so now they're doubling down, and instead of 5 milligrams, I need 10 milligrams, or I need 20 because it doesn't do anything to me anymore. And now there is real, whereas before, marijuana is good for you, as far as, it helps with certain medicinal issues,
right,
whatever.
Yeah.
Now they're saying, well, no, now you're going to have long-term effects because you're doing too much, too fast,
that's the thing.
and too often.
Oma used to say this all the time. It's always one extreme or the other.
Yeah.
Human beings, for some reason, can't seem to find that happy medium.
Yeah.
We always have to go all out, either completely nothing at all, or, to the nth degree. There's like nothing in between.
Yeah. I mean, I have a friend now, and I try not to be concerned, but it does. I think she's very stressed out about the world and about life, and things are, like you said, for us growing up, it was a constant struggle money-wise. And again, as we all know, it's just the same today. And the first thing she does when she comes home is she takes a dose. Either she's got a tincture, or she's got a THC or CBD beverage, or a gummy or a tablet. And that's the first thing they do, whereas women used to come home and take their bra off right away. That's the first thing she does. The first thing she does is
that, and have a cookie.
Yeah. The first thing she does is dose herself. And, to the point where it's, it concerns me, the fact that she does it every day. Now, again, she's not taking pill after pill, and she's not, but still.
Well, I'll tell you once also, Oma, and she went to the doctor and asked him if it was okay.
Yeah.
Because she would come home from work and have gin and 7-Up.
Sure, yeah.
Sometimes 2.
Yeah.
And the doctor said to her, it's better you do that than to be on tranquilizers or whatever.
Sure.
So he says, as long as that's all, if you just have 1 or 2, you're fine.
Well, yes, but also it makes it hard to have a conversation with that person. It makes it hard for the visit. Cause there have been times that I've come over and are you high yet? No, not yet. Oh, okay. Let me tell you this real quick, because if I tell you later, you're not going to remember, or you're not going to remember what you said to me, or, not that it completely knocks her out or anything.
Yeah.
But it does enough that it's concerning to me now, because it's like, okay, this is this is an addiction.
Yeah.
The fact that you reach for it every day.
Every day.
Which again, we all have very good reason to.
Yeah.
I don't besmirch anyone.
Right.
I understand.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it, like I said, the long term makes me concerned.
Yeah.
Whenever you get yourself to a point where you can't live without it, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So, it's something to always think. Well, and even like the Mounjaro and the Wegovy and Ozempic and all that stuff too, it's the same thing. The moment people get off it, not only do they gain that weight back, they gain more back because, well, hold on. This allowed me to live my life how I wanted. Okay, well, that you've got to maintain it then. Now you're stuck on it forever.
Yeah.
So it's all,
everything sucks.
Everything sucks.
Everything sucks. Well, you know what? And I've found, I mean, in one way, kind of backhanded way, it's at least enlightening to find out. I always thought that the people who sucked were the minority.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to wonder if that's really true.
Yeah.
But again, I'm still holding on with both hands to my belief that a little bit of good overcomes a lot of evil.
Yes.
I'm going to hold on to that.
Because at the end of the day, that is genuinely what anybody is seeking out. We're just looking for a word of encouragement, a word of gratitude, of appreciation, just recognition of any kind, really.
Yes.
Really.
Yes. And in
some kind of connection.
All my reading, one of the conclusions that I've come to too, and if you read about, there's a couple of books that I've read about children that had a really, really, really tough life, a really hard beginning, like where they were orphaned or they were living in homes, in group homes or in foster homes or whatever. And they just never had any security. They never had any stability. But there was that one person somewhere along the line that saw them.
Yeah.
And that valued them.
Yep. 100%.
And that was enough for them to get through all the shit.
Yeah.
And, and turn out okay in the end. Well, as okay as anybody else.
Well, how many times do we see that? I mean, we're big into music. We didn't go on vacation. We went to concerts, so again, that's where you see that hysteria with, again, acts like Taylor Swift, or how many times, Youngblood is big right now, all over the socials, all over the TikToks, great guy, Dom. And his fans tell him, oh, you saved my life. Yeah. How many times? Yeah. And I'm going to try not to get emotional because I'm looking at you, and I'm going to stop looking at you for a minute because you're going to make me emotional.
Don't look at me.
But he always says, I tell them when they say that to me, no, I did not save your life. I was just the soundtrack while you were sorting yourself out. And good for you. He puts it back on. No, you take responsibility for doing that, for getting yourself out of that.
Credit.
Yes.
And the credit.
Yes, that's what he's saying. He's saying you recognize that you
I don't
did
even know
that.
Who that is.
I'm shocked you don't.
No.
Quite frankly, he's British.
Really?
And he was on. He performed at Ozzy's last show, and he's very close with the Osbournes.
Okay,
yes,
well, maybe
Youngblood.
it didn't register.
Yeah, he just toured in Australia recently, but he's making the rounds. He's a big deal.
Yeah.
Everyone calls his name is Dom.
I say that quite
Dom.
often, that music saves my life every day.
Yeah.
And it does, but it's not any particular personality or any particular artist.
No.
It's just music in general.
Well, I mean,
because especially, the singer-songwriters that I love who put into words the feelings that I have that I can't articulate.
Yeah.
They can say in a sentence, what would take me an hour to try to explain.
Right. Yeah.
And I really do appreciate that. That really helps.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. When there are people out there that can put, there's a song I always refer to when we talk about like storytelling. There's a song called Another White Dash. It's a very simple song. It's literally about packing up your car and moving.
Oh,
putting your whole
white dashes on the highway.
Yeah, but if you listen,
I've heard that.
Oh, absolutely, you have. It's Butterfly Boucher. But if you listen to that song, you can visualize every line.
Sure.
And that, when you get that connection, it's like, oh shit, that's really,
Yeah.
But again, that's why everyone loved poetry. That's why Shakespeare blew everybody's fucking minds. Holy shit, this guy knows how to, put out a line.
It's weird. Song lyrics are really poetry.
Yeah, they are.
Music,
yeah, absolutely.
But I've never been big into poetry.
Nor have I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very weird. That's weird. But again, and a lot of the lyrics though, if you just read them, they don't hit nearly the same way that they do when you sing
when it's
them.
got a tune. When there's some
expression,
emotion behind it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, to finish what Billy Bragg had to say. So he was saying that he doesn't think that the government is fascist. That
it just wants to be. It wants to be.
And the people that responded to him, who took exception to that,
yeah.
And then his answer was, well, if it was a fascist government, Mamdani would never have been allowed to run.
Period. Right. And let alone win.
And win.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, because we're not full on fascist yet.
No.
But we're definitely moving
it's
in that direction.
It's wannabe fascism. Sure.
But again, this whole business with Minneapolis, if he sends more troops into Minneapolis, if he declares martial law, and then he says, okay, we don't, as he said the other day, well, you know what? Everybody is so happy with all the wonderful things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
We don't even need elections.
Yeah.
Because everybody's, I don't know what planet he's on to think that everybody's happy with what he's doing, but because that's what the people around him are telling
feeding him. Sure, absolutely.
That's what Kristi Noem is saying. Hundreds of millions of lives have been saved.
Yeah.
And
well, again, they all know how he is and how he operates, and they all know that they could lose their jobs on a whim.
Yeah.
So they literally, that's 90% of their job is kissing ass.
Yeah.
The emperor has no clothes.
Yeah, but then you have this woman from Venezuela giving him her Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
And I want to say to her, honey, what on earth?
Because she wants him to, because he's already said he still doesn't want her to be president. He wants the vice president to take over.
Okay.
So she's doing anything she can. Again, she's playing the game like everybody else and kissing his ass.
Yes, you're right.
That's what she's doing.
Silly me. What was I thinking?
So Jimmy Kimmel just came out on his show, and he said, if I don't remember what his demand was. Something like, if you could remove your troops from Minneapolis or whatever. So he wheeled out all of his trophies, all of his awards that he has gotten, his Emmy, his Webby, right. his all the Spirit Award. He said, "Sir, take your pick. I'll gladly give one of these to you if you could stop doing X, Y, or Z." Again, I apologize. Right. I don't remember specifically what he was going after.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just asking him to step down as a president, something like that. He said, "I bet." He said, "Sir," that's what he said. He said, "Sir, you can have all of them,
right?
If that's all you need. If you just need these participation trophies, I'll happily give you mine." But that's unfortunately where we're at. We're at a guy who likes shiny things and wants to amass his maybe Egyptian. He wants to be a pharaoh with all of his prizes, and please come look at the shiny things I have, and I have more stuff than you. And
this thing with Greenland, though,
Jesus Christ!
But it could be. I mean,
shout out to NATO. Thank you, forces, for
I read a whole nother thing, and I don't know how this is going to happen, but I read a whole thing again today. This guy who says if they put boots on the ground in Greenland, if he actually
there already Greenland, is, but it's the other countries now. Thank God.
Well, no, but we have we have a base in Greenland.
But I'm
saying if he tries to invade Greenland, he's saying that the NATO countries are going to completely demand that all of our bases in Germany, in Italy, in the UK, that those get closed down, and that we get kicked out of all those countries.
Yes. Well,
and I don't know how that would happen. I don't know how they would be able to do that.
Well,
that's the thing.
You don't, just because you're at the base, you don't own the land. You don't own, so we're gonna kick you the fuck out. Just like Trump is kicking out migrants who live here. Same thing.
But again, like all of these judgments that have been put against him, all these courts that have ruled against him, who's going to enforce that?
No one, because he has control of this country, but he doesn't have control of other countries.
Okay, but again, are they going to actually declare war on the United States?
Well, but they're doing it now. Essentially, they have sent Germany and I forget which other countries.
They have a handful, but
again, the fact that again, I'm watching television with Tammy at her house, and that's what they're saying on the news. And they specifically said to safeguard and protect against American forces. And I looked at Tammy. I said, "Did you ever think in your fucking lifetime, you would hear that sentence read out on American news that these troops are getting together to align themselves to protect their citizens against American forces?"
Right.
So again, that's as far as we're going politically, but Fuck, guys, fuck.
Well, and there's the economic thing too, because again, this guy who says that the Euro, what the hell is it called? The European Union.
Yeah.
The European Union is the largest single economic entity in the world.
Right.
And if they decide to cut us off,
and they could,
it's going to be chaos, and that's absolute chaos.
And that's because at the end of the day, unfortunately, our leader is not our leader. Our leader is a puppet for Israel and Russia and North Korea and China.
Yeah.
So,
well, not China so much.
Well,
China and Russia are kind of competing.
They're frenemies when push comes to shove.
Yeah.
So it's a shame. Meanwhile, you have countries like Australia where you are legally obligated to vote.
Oh, yeah.
You will get fined if you do not turn up to vote.
Right.
But they make sure that it's accessible to they don't try to fuck around with districts and voting polling places and what have you.
Right.
But anyway, we're gonna move along.
We'll have to wait and see if those midterms actually happen, because that's what Billy Bragg says. He says that will show to me that it is an actual fascist state. Yeah. If those elections don't happen,
we'll see. Anyway, moving on.
Well,
another depressing topic. They just started talking about this week recently, because again, social media is in everybody's business. Verizon had a famous outage recently. Again,
which at time of
recording. Yeah, you of all people, because your phone is FUBAR. So it's bananas to me that it didn't. And same thing. Tammy didn't have any issue with hers either. She still got her $20 back from Verizon. It's fucking
I
the
should
whole
look.
thing.
Maybe they gave me $20.
If they they'll send you a text saying here's a link to. They're only applying it to your charge. It's not like they're sending you $20.
Right? No, that's fine.
No, give me a gift card for something. Anyway, you know what I mean. I'm a materialistic bitch, but no. So now, and I don't know if this is the case in every country, but specifically in our country now. Because of social media, because of people constantly having a screen in their face, videos of other people from other places, regional accents are becoming a thing of the past. So particularly in the South. So Southern drawl has been on the downslide. Your Boston accent, your New York accent, your Jersey accent, your Rhode Island accent, those are becoming few and far between. Because people are busy watching other people that sound more like you and myself. So that's really, really interesting.
Tante Marion said we had accents.
Sure. Well, we do. I mean, we do. But because it's now they're hearing that rather than hearing people within their communities.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting because as you know, I listen to the BBC all day long. And I hear accents.
Oh yeah, same.
I hear the
Yes.
accents. I hear Welsh. I hear Irish. I hear and I can tell you the difference between London and Manchester. And I mean, or Bolton, Northern Yorkshire, whatever. I mean, they still have them there. Yeah, and they're the size of Michigan, right? The whole UK.
But again, I think that's different because you technically, quote unquote, don't have one, but you're surrounded by but you still speak to people within your community as well. You know what I mean? So it's when they talk about how we're more social than ever, but we're also the loneliest generation. That's where that's coming from. So they are seeing all of this on their screens, but they're not actually interacting with the people within their communities to keep that accent going. So, for example, so again, the radio program I'm referring to is Elvis Duran in the Morning Show. They're based out of New York City. One of the DJs on that show is from Brooklyn. And he said, oh, yeah, I remember. And he does kind of have, he's got a New York kind of going on. But he said, yeah, I watched a clip from some newsreel in the 1970s where they talked to somebody in Brooklyn. It was a lot more pronounced, and it was definitely, yo, buddy, what, this guy over here. And he said, even now you don't. He's like, I live there and I don't hear it like that. It was heavy back then. But that's because those were the people in your neighborhood. You say, hey, Joey, hey, Johnny, Right. But now over here, it's, oh, hi, Amelia. It's, oh, hello, Amanda. It's, or get ready with me, gang. They were, what was it? Somebody was also talking about the fact that all of their roommates were, one gal on the show, her son is overseas. He's at school in the UK. So he'll come back and he'll say things like, oh, my mates and stuff like that. But he still doesn't have the accent because he lives with other Americans, but they're all from California. So now he comes back and he elongates words like, Mom, can you, like, because he's now picking up theirs. So it's who we're surrounding ourselves with in our communities. And now they're saying this Gen Z is the generation of screens and socials. And again, the loneliest generation. But now they're also, again, because they're not out in their community, they're not spending time with their own people, quote unquote. They're losing it. So it's really an interest, you know, and you never know. I feel like we're just every day living in a social experiment because
it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And because I am on Facebook for hours a day.
You are.
And I follow a bunch of people.
Yes.
And two or three of the people, Trey Crowder, for one example. Robert.
The liberal redneck, Trey Crowder.
Robert, somebody else that I just started following, who is also Southern, has a Southern accent, not quite the same. Yeah. So he's from a different state.
Yeah, because Trey is from Tennessee, I believe.
Yeah. So, but what I wanted to get to was that I've heard from other people, I've seen other people's posts talking about how the algorithm, whatever, sends them particular things, that they have, a lot of right-wing bots and trolls and stuff coming up in their feed. And I don't have that. I don't seem to have that. I mean, I follow Heather Cox Richardson. I follow Stone Kettle. I follow Trey Crowder. So, and I go through the comments. Yeah. And in the comments, there are some bots and some trolls and some people who say some hateful things and so on and so forth. But as far as just what comes up in my feed, I mean, I get a lot of advertisement for things that I'm really just thinking about, not even said out loud. Yeah. And all of a sudden this thing pops up on my screen and I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. Yeah. But I don't feel like I'm getting a lot of
well, they've gotten more sophisticated. So now my algorithm, it seems, it does change day to day. So we were talking about the monks walking for peace.
Yes,
at the time of recording, they've got a couple weeks left before they get to DC. They're walking up the East Coast right now. They were in the Carolinas. So again, I listen through music. My phone is connected to my car. So the radio show was talking about that. So then that whole day I was getting different pieces from the monks walk. All different people. That was my pretty much every other video in the algorithm was that. And again, as you like it, it gives you more, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But it does, for me, it changes. So there's a comedian from the UK, Paul Smith, really funny guy. Absolutely love him. Same thing. If I click one of his videos, then the rest of my day, every other video will be a Paul Smith clip. Right. And of course, I love him, so I keep watching.
I noticed
so
that too.
It's that.
I listen to a lot of reels too.
Yeah. So it's that. It's a matter of what you like, what you share, what you continue to like. If you don't like it, then eventually the algorithm will say, oh, she's not interested. And it'll change. Like I said, book talk. I saved a couple of reels because I was like, oh yeah, these are some titles I might want to check out. Yeah. So now it's every other one is book talk. So the other day, Tammy asked me, what shoes are you wearing? I really like those shoes. I said, oh, it's Hobie Bear. They're wide toe shoes. They're, I should say, I guess wide. I don't know. Yeah, they're wide. They're for wider feet, but they don't have the narrow front or toe, I guess, as you would say.
So they have like a box.
It's more like a box toe, right? Yeah. And I told her, I said, now that I have said it out loud to you, and our phones are both in this room, you will get inundated on socials, which is how I discovered them in the first place. Is I kept getting ads for them. Yeah. So I've bought now. I own 4 pairs. I've given 2 to my sister, so I had 6 pairs of Hobie Bear. But now they don't talk to me anymore. I never see him. Really? But I told her, I said, now that I have said it to you and your phone has heard it, you will begin to get inundated as I was. Yeah. So you can go ahead and order yourself some Hobie Bear. Right. But it's just, it's crazy. Yeah. But that thing like you were saying when, I was thinking about it because they have GPS too. So somebody was saying something about, oh, I really liked this toothpaste that this Airbnb or my uncle had or something in his medicine cabinet. I'd never seen it before. Hours later, and he didn't have his phone in the bathroom with him, but it was approximation.
Yeah.
We know this guy bought this, so you're in his house.
Right. And
it's wild.
And, the thing is that I know that there are some people who make a whole big conspiracy theory kind of deal out of this. That, they're tracking you so
and
that
they are.
So they can control you.
No,
and
just to sell you shit.
They just want to sell you shit. Yeah. That's all that it's about.
Some can argue that is a form of control.
Yes, but they also could use it. This conversation came up in the office because somebody said, because of this whole Verizon thing, he says, I'm thinking I'm going to switch to, I don't remember now what he said, whether it was T-Mobile.
Yeah, AT&T, whatever.
It was something else. And he said, because they have a hookup with Starlink. So if their network goes down, Starlink will take over.
Oh, yeah, because that's what I want is fucking Elon in my pocket.
And that's exactly what I said to him. I said I would stay as far away from Starlink as I possibly could.
Fuck that fucking guy. Fuck because, you, Elon.
And it's not because of any conspiracy theory.
It pisses me off that I use PayPal.
I don't want to be connected to Elon Musk in any way, shape, or form.
Well, unfortunately, we use PayPal, so that fucker's still getting a piece of the pie. Piece of shit, you fucking dickhead. But he's not getting deported at any time.
Oh God!
Why would he?
Why? Well, because
he's a white Nazi. He's not going anywhere.
Right.
Okay, we're not going there.
Yes, or Marlene. What's her name? Melania.
Please, no. Yeah, we're not.
Melania, and I don't want to say that because
you don't want to be that person.
I don't.
Yeah.
But she came here illegally.
But we do have bitterness and hatred in our hearts.
We do. I really don't. No, I really don't.
No, it's true. No, it's
the people who say, I wish he would die, or I wish he would. I just want him to shut up and go away.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I don't even care. I don't even want him to be punished. I don't want any.
And it's hard. That's where hatred is an interesting thing to me, because it's hard for me, because at the end of the day, he's an absolute piece of shit. But he has people that do actually give a fuck about him. He does have a family. He does have kids and grandkids that might, I don't know. Well, that family. That family, I don't know. I don't know that family cares about one another. But certainly that's how I always do try to put that in my brain, that somebody somewhere out there does actually like this person.
Well, that doesn't even matter to me. I don't even care.
We'll see that. I do care.
But it's like, But I had this argument with Uncle Gisbert all the time. That somebody does something, they should be punished. And he would say, well, never mind, going to court and all this stuff. If you catch somebody doing something, just shoot them right there and just take care of it.
If you knew he was German, you'd say that's a real fucking problem of even though he did join the German military to punch Nazis.
He joined our military to go to Korea.
Yes, actually. Just in case Nazis needed punching, he was there for it.
And
however,
it's not Nazis; it's fucking Nazis.
Yeah,
at all times.
Yes.
So in any case, what was I saying?
Yes.
I forgot.
Well, shout out to GI Robot if you know, you know. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again. Trying really hard not to get political here. It's difficult. It is difficult because everything's on fire.
Getting back to the whole
Starlink,
idea of evil people.
Yeah. Everyone has their thing.
Even Hitler. Everyone starts off as an innocent little baby.
Yeah.
And you wonder what on earth had happened to them that they ended up where they ended up.
That butterfly effect.
And I understand that, when you're a child, you are influenced by your parents, and they, sometimes you go right along with what they say. Sometimes you completely react against you completely react against what they're telling you for whatever reason, because you're again, everybody is born with a certain set of abilities, of potential, of talents, of whatever it is. Some people are born athletic. Some people have to really work hard at it.
Yeah.
Other people are born musical. Other people, like me, you have to beat their head against the wall to try to make it work. So that's not your fault. You're born however you're born. That's what you're born.
Yeah.
And whatever circumstances you are born into, that's not your fault either.
Yeah.
And how other people treat you in the beginning is not your fault. It becomes your fault later on.
Yeah.
Depending on how you react.
Well, because it's also up to you to get your shit together.
Yeah. Well, again, you say that
to a certain degree.
But if you've never been given the tools or the guidance or the understanding of how to get your shit together, or you've been given it in a certain way, like you have a bunch of racist fucks as parents, and they teach you to be a racist fuck. It's like, how much is that your fault?
Yeah.
But then what? Once you become an adult and you say, well, my parents taught me to be a racist fuck, so I'm going to continue to be a racist fuck.
Right.
When does it become your responsibility to look at that and determine whether this is proper or not?
I always like to use the analogy, especially when people say, well, that's how I was raised. And I don't mean to give it a Southern accent, but that's the way it sounds in my head. Well, that's just how I was raised, y'all. All right. That's just how it was. And I look at them and I say, honey, you figured out how to use a fucking smartphone at some point in your life.
Right.
You can unlearn that and you can learn some new shit. You can change your way of fucking thinking. Right. It's a matter of what y'all are willing to do.
Yes.
And the work y'all are willing to put in.
Right. Because that's not all you've ever heard in your life. You've heard all the other stuff as well.
Right.
So you choose what you decide to follow and what you
again,
decide
so again, that goes back to the fact that no matter where you live, you are getting a different education from a person, one town over, one state over, one country over, one continent over. You are. But like you said, as you get to a certain age and more shit has become accessible and within reach, within your smartphone, you can broaden your fucking horizons and get a little more cultured, even if you can't get on a plane and immerse yourself in that environment 100%.
But again, and I always come back to this, if you've never been taught that is even a possibility.
Yeah.
That you could, broaden your horizons.
Yeah.
And maybe you've been taught, no, you don't want to broaden your horizons. Well, your horizons belong here. This is where you're, and most of this
That's why they didn't want women to vote. That's why they didn't want slaves to be able to learn to read. Yes. Because the more educated you are, wait, you care about other people and you yourself want to be treated with dignity and respect. Hold on, wait a minute. Who put that book in their hand? Fucking
just a minute. Which is why we're trying to limit what people can read and where, so on and so forth.
Yep. And certainly not by drag queens. How dare they? How dare they read?
What did I see? I saw another really good post about immigrants. Yeah. Where this guy is saying, what can someone please explain to me what is the problem with immigrants?
It's because the
problem.
It's not
what are they doing?
It's not the immigrants, it's the brown immigrants. Let's start there.
Okay.
Let's start there.
I wish I could remember more of the
because
details.
There is nothing wrong with
points.
No. And again, we are going to end here. Maybe we'll try to be on a lighter note, but no, it's not even, it's the fact that they are there and there's so much horrible things that these people have done and are continuing to do. They need a constant cover up. So that's what it is. It's not that this brown person is a threat to their community, because if these people are able to track them, that means they're documented somewhere. Mm. So they go to a job, they show up at court, they have registered, they're trying to seek asylum. Mm-hmm. So what it is, well, it's my name, my friends' names, their friends' names are all in the Epstein files. I'm doing illegal shit in other countries. I am fucking around with the education department. I am fucking around with people's finances. I am fucking around with the price of groceries. I'm fucking around with the price of gas. Don't look at any of that. I'm just going to go ahead and shoot this guy in the leg. I'm going to shoot that woman in the face. I'm going to have all of these guys ascend on a peaceful city that doesn't vote my way. Because you can't look at the rest. It is the man behind the curtain. It is the Wizard of Oz. That's what it is. Yeah. That's what it is.
No, absolutely.
It's that fucking simple too. And
we always need a target.
Well, but the hard part is it's that simple.
Yeah.
even though the reality is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
The reason and the explanation is that simple that people, well, no, there's got to be something else. No, it's not. They're corrupt motherfuckers.
Right.
And they're going to fuck over anybody that they possibly can.
Right.
Starting with the Browns.
I think that the problem with this whole, with their attempt to do this, and it, it does work up to a point. But the fact of the matter is that we have, as I said before, almost 350 million people in this country. And
y'all still won't fucking vote. Come on.
And a lot of those people know immigrants or are immigrants
certainly from immigrants,
have aunts, close relatives, not just 300 years ago. But
even the Native Americans are immigrants. Nobody was here. The Vikings came here and said, there ain't shit to do. And they fucking left. The Vikings were here before the Native Americans. Let's not forget the continents. Let's not forget the continents were not shaped the way they are shaped today. A lot of things have happened from one to the other.
Were here before the Vikings. They were here.
They were in Mexico. But there's a lot of, In
any case, the point of it is that a lot of Americans know a lot of immigrants.
Oh, yeah.
And they work in the restaurant.
And y'all love going to vacation in Cancun.
And they work at the grocery store. And so they see these people and they know that they're not criminals.
Yeah.
They know that they're not, rapists and, all of this stuff.
Right.
So I don't think that it's going to work in the long run.
Once they're grocery baggers and cart collectors and toilet cleaners and garbage men and floor cleaners, once they start realizing, oh, nobody's doing those jobs. What happened? Yeah. Because it certainly ain't the white folks that are going to pick up the toilet brush.
And all
right.
That. Yeah.
But unfortunately, as a society, we have come to be taught and to feel like my island is the only one that matters. So me, the people closely connected to me. So yeah, I know Pedro's a good guy. He gets my coffee order right every time I go through. He keeps the place clean. He makes sure he locks up tight at night. But, Pedro must have done something if ICE is at his door. Doesn't affect me. Doesn't affect my life.
But I don't think that's happening because
I would hope so.
If you look at what's happening in Minneapolis, the people are really coming out.
But I'm saying that's how it started. Yeah. That's how it started.
Yeah.
Now, yes. Because again, if they were doing it quote unquote legally, if they weren't rounding up and disappearing people, if they weren't shooting people, if they weren't breaking down, if they weren't breaking down doors, if they weren't ripping people out of their cars, if they were doing it, I don't want to say under the cover of night, but if they were doing it in a way that wasn't so blatantly fucking illegal, I think people would have a different attitude and they would feel a different kind of way.
We're at that moment where people were watching Vietnam on their the evening news.
Right.
And it started slowly turning the country against it because they could see what was actually happening.
Right. And that's just it.
And that's why they're out there.
And
that's
by
why
the
they're
way,
filming. That's why they're.
And by the way, how much of that was also still covered up?
Oh, absolutely.
There's a documentary right now called Breakdown. It's Breakdown 1975. And in that, they do talk about how there was a lot of shit that we found out years and years later about Vietnam.
But the whole thing in Chile with Salvador Allende, the CIA went down there and helped them overthrow the government and get rid of him because he nationalized the copper industry.
Yeah.
Okay, very similar to what happened in Venezuela, except because with Trump, everything is right out in the open. Yeah. We just say it all out loud. Yeah. But they lied about that for decades. Yeah. Oh, no, the CIA had nothing to do with it. And now everybody accepts the fact that, the CIA did that. Yep, we did that. And it's and I guess that was okay because in some circles.
Well, because we're not doing it now. But that's what it is. That's what it is. You guys, we did it. We're not doing that now. Yes. So, and by the way, again, I know nobody that has voted for Trump is listening to this show. I do know that. But I would also like to point out, because everybody's arguing about oil now, oil. All the oil in Venezuela is actually kind of really shit. And all of the major oil companies want nothing to fuck to do with it and have said that. Like, we've tried to go there, but that crude oil, bitch, she be crude. We don't want to fuck with it. Right. So plus what are we gaining?
Even if it was, we don't want to flood our market with oil because that's going to make the prices go down.
Yeah, we don't want that.
We don't want that.
Right. So
what are you talking about?
Again, it's a distraction. It's a bait and switch. But don't look behind the curtain.
Oh my God.
You guys, let's talk about something a little better.
Okay.
Just to end on a completely different note.
Okay.
Let's go completely different.
Completely different. And now for something completely different.
Because we are running fucking long. This is
recognize that.
Oh yes, we are. This is the last episode of season 2. We are running very long.
Oh, am I the last?
You are the very last.
Oh, I am honored.
Episode 50, season 2.
Ooh,
it just took us 2 fucking years to get this shit taken care of. Sorry again, gang. I think I mentioned this to you. I saw The Labyrinth, 40th anniversary.
Oh, okay.
Did I mention it? I must have not.
Don't think
you know
did.
What? I mentioned it to Tammy. Okay. And I don't recall. It's been a while since you've seen it.
Oh gosh, yes.
But you know the music, you know the David Bowie songs.
Yes. What
is the most famous song lyric in that film, film?
Don't be putting me on the spot. I have no idea.
So it's Dance Magic Dance. Dance Magic Dance.
Oh, okay.
Jump Magic Jump. Okay. Slap That Baby.
Okay.
Can you finish it?
No.
Slap That Baby, Make Him Pee.
Oh.
Very famous lyric.
Really?
Everyone knows it.
Not me.
Everyone knows this line. Slap that baby, make him pee. Everybody knows it. It's a big deal. If you haven't seen The Labyrinth, I highly recommend it. Jim Henson production, starring the wonderful David Bowie, R.I.P., Jennifer Connelly. Please watch it. But there is a line, because it's all the songs are written by David Bowie, and again, if you know, you know. So there is a line that says, slap that baby, make him pee. Even the folks in my theater were, slap that baby, make him pee, make him pee. They were all sick. We're all in it. I downloaded the soundtrack. I was really excited. Oh, it's been a while. I haven't, these songs are fucking bussin'. Let me put these songs on my rotation. What? I get to that song and I'm ready for it. Slap that baby, make him pee. Excuse me, gang. On the soundtrack, at least the soundtrack through Amazon. Now, I didn't go buy it's 40 fucking years old. I did not go buy the original 40-year-old pressing. Slap That Baby, Set Him Free. Oh, I am distraught. Oh, I'm having a time with this.
Yes.
I'm in my car. I almost ran off the road. What did they say?
Yeah.
What? No.
Yeah, well, they
make him pee.
They sanitized.
Make him pee.
Yes. No, they sanitized the Fairy Tale of New York.
David must be rolling. I don't know, but who knows? Maybe that was the cut they put on the disc. They do certain things like that. So again, when Taylor Swift, when she debuted her album in AMC theaters, they did the showing of the making of The Fate of Ophelia. They were going through all of their songs. A lot of her songs certainly would, again, if you know, you know. They'd had some things in there. She says bitch in a couple of lines, whatever, because they went through every song.
Right.
In order to make sure that showing was a universal showing, they had to adjust.
Right.
So in order for it to get a PG or even a G rating, they had to do that. And I'm sitting I sat next to this elderly gay couple, which was great. These two gentlemen, white-haired gentlemen. And I know those queens were upset. They said, what? That's not the lyric.
Right.
But that's the reason. Yeah. So I'm wondering if that was what it was, so that they, because that was around the time. Christ, that was around the time they were starting the censorship thing where we could put the explicit lyric mark on it. So I wonder. Yeah. But I also wonder, did they change this, and does David Bowie know about it? But I don't, because again, I don't know how recent this version is.
They have sanitized a number of things like that.
Yeah.
Which does disturb me.
Yeah.
Like even Johnny Cash. When he sings, I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. Yeah. There's some people that don't sing that line. They sing a different line. They make, I don't know what.
He deserved it. Go ahead, sing it, guys. That fucking guy in Reno.
But this is the thing. I mean, I understand that some people are offended. Some people are offended by a warm breeze. For goodness
That's
sake.
fair,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? I mean, it's like, you know what? This is life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm offended they changed the lyric, frankly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Who cares about what I'm offended by? Apparently nobody,
Yeah.
you know? So, you know, and I understand that, you know, the word faggot is now unacceptable, but it's a song.
Yeah.
It was a song that came out at a certain time.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not meant to cover every circumstance for the whole universe. I mean, it's a song.
Yeah.
So, you know, people go a little bit too far with that.
Well, speaking of the
business.
F word, our buddy Kenny, shout out Kenny, got particularly irate about something online, and now he's been referring to the MAGA people as flaggots. So that's an interesting twist on that. I read because I was gonna share what he had posted because I thought it was interesting, but then I saw that word and I saw the other F word first, and I said, oh, I can't. But then I said, oh, flaggots. I said,
Well,
how do I feel about?
Yes.
I don't know how I feel.
And I imagine he's referring to the flag waving.
Yes, 100%.
Portion of
Yes,
of the whole
100%.
MAGA. But the thing of it is that I've put my American flag back in my car because, damn it, it's my flag too.
Well,
I don't see why they should co-opt
I recently had a friend. I had a very heated discussion with a friend. He's having a very, very hard time. He had a hard time during the first administration, and he had said at the time, if motherfucker wins, I'm moving my family to Canada. That didn't happen, but he did get off socials for quite a period of time because he just he couldn't have it in his life anymore. And I understand that. So I said something to him in our conversation where he was kind of spiraling. And I said, well, you know, I fully expected you to pack your family up and move up. And he goes, you know what? No, fuck that. This is my country.
Exactly.
You know, but we get that all the time. Well, then why don't you leave? Well, then why don't you move? And for anybody, they say that
Obama
for anybody.
was president,
right?
So no,
right.
Why should I
but
move?
things were really bad then, right?
Yeah, they were so bad.
I know.
You know, but it's the same thing with Christmas. I gave up Christmas for a number of years.
I know you did.
What are you talking about? You never missed a Christmas.
Not that I missed it, but there was a time. Not this past year, but the year before. Joanne, I was like, you know what, bitch, you're not even invited then. Fuck me.
That wasn't about Christmas.
No, I know.
That was about my particular circumstances at the time.
Sure.
But no, I'm talking about when I was in college and I had finally determined that I was an atheist.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, then, you know, obviously
fuck
Christmas
it all.
doesn't. I can't celebrate Christmas in good conscience because I'd be a hypocrite, you know. But Barbara Peskin, bless her,
love you, Barb.
She gave me Christmas back again because she said there's so much more to it.
And she also said, babe, it's a pagan holiday. That's to be fair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And every night a child is born becomes a holy night.
Yeah. There you are. That's a nice way to look at it.
Well, that's
even Hitler.
Sophia Lyon Faz, our religious education, our religious educator. Yeah. Long gone. But in any case, yes. So you have to own the language. You
always look on the bright side of life, gang.
Take it back. Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes.
Take it back,
take it
fuckers.
Back.
Take it back.
Take it back.
But to our friends in Minnesota, please keep pouring water on the entrance to the ice facility because that's great. If you could keep doing that.
What they're doing?
They've been pouring water all over the sidewalk.
Fabulous.
So you want ice, bitch? You got it.
Oh, that's
and recently, our brethren in Boston were dumping ice into the harbor. So thank you very much.
All right.
They've been dumping buckets of ice into the harbor.
Okay.
So we've all got our own way of fighting the power.
Well, they're singing
Continue
now
to do
too.
It. Well, yes.
They're singing and
well, again, now that I've talked about this, hopefully your algorithm is full of the monks walking for peace, the Tibetan monks from Texas with their dog Aloka.
Aloka. Yeah.
And
sweet.
Just give you something. Even the monks themselves, they had said, and they've done this a number of times. This isn't the first time they've made this pilgrimage, but they have said, we knew there'd be people out waiting for us, but we didn't expect this.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We need it, babe.
Yes.
We need it.
Well, and I want
to
to repeat a story, and I'm sorry I don't know all of the details.
It's fine.
But there was
we're not exactly a detail-oriented show here.
There was an elderly veteran who stood in front of the White House with a candle for months and months and months and months. And this was during the Nixon or maybe Reagan, but in any case, during one of those administrations. And I think it was during the Vietnam War, in any case. And the reporters asked him, he said, why are you here? You don't think that what you're doing is going to change, what the government is doing? And he said, no, I don't expect to change the government. I don't want the government to change me.
There you go. There you go. And now she's got me going, so fuck this. This is the problem with having your mother on the show. And again, as much as we didn't want to get political, we still fuck, because you can't escape it. That's especially true. Not right now. You can't.
But anyway, again, a little bit of good goes a long way.
Yeah. So again, hopefully your algorithm is full of fun shit and peace and stuff that gives you peace. I have no problem with anybody doom scrolling. I have no problem with screen time with anyone, because we are all doing the best we can to just find a little happiness and a little grace in this world of ours. And hey, if this podcast provides that for you, I do appreciate it. And I really thank you. Again, if you have any interest in coming on and chatting with me about clearly anything, or if you know someone who has an interesting story, an interesting job, an interesting perspective, I'll talk to almost anyone. I'm not Joe Rogan. I won't let anybody in the fucking door. But I'd like to talk to them. So give me a shout on socials. You all know where to find me. But if not, you want to send me an email, it's trynottocurse@gmail.com. I do check that email address on occasion, so I might see you. But here we are. That is a wrap on season 2. Again, there's going to be quite a significant break between the start of season 3. But by then, I'll definitely have some interviews in the can. So we look forward to catching you then. Thanks for joining us.